Hey guys, so I wanted to make a video to go over the expectations and activity for week 2, day 1, but there wasn't a lecture, so I'm just going to go over the activity, but that you will complete on your own if you have not already. So for week 2, day 1, the progressive era, there is a packet. That is the only thing we did in class. I have a paper version as well if you would like one on paper, but there's also this online version you can complete as well. So the progressive era. Here's a little overview that talks about the time period, so 1890s to 1920s. And this era really is about progress. It's about changing the Gilded Age, this rot underneath the gold, all those problems we talked about, like working conditions, living conditions, tenement homes, this wealth inequality, and child labor, all these issues that were going on during the Gilded Age, the progressive era is really trying to solve. People are fed up, ready to fight for change, and that is the main part of the progressive era that we talk about. There also is imperialism, which we don't get too much into, but in the overview you will read about here. So for the first part of this activity, you have to go through these protest strikes. There are 4 of them. I've listed the causes and the results for each, and then you just have to answer 2 questions. What were the main reasons for the Gilded Age / progressive era protests? So what is the reason these protests happened? And then what were the outcomes of these protests? So what was the result? What came about because of these protests? And make sure to write in complete sentences, give a good idea of what the causes were for strikes at this time and the results were for strikes at this time. For the next part, child labor. What was the push to end child labor? Why is it progressive? Why is trying to end child labor a progressive reform? What makes the desire to end child labor this public demand for the end of child labor? What makes that progressive? What makes that something that is going to create a better society at the end? In what year do you feel child labor peaked and why? Look at this graph to be able to answer that question. What led to the decline in child labor? I want you to really look at these images and try to make an intelligent guess on what you think led to the decline, and try to write in complete sentences for all 3 of these as well. Working conditions. So this is a case, Luckner versus New York, about hours. Can the government restrict how many hours a worker can work? I want you to read the case right here and then answer this question. Do you think it is fair and necessary for the government to regulate how many hours someone can work and why? So this case is about a baker wanting to work more than the 10-hour restriction in order to make more money. He was saying 10 hours is not enough to feed my family. I'm not making enough money, but the government was fining them for having them work more. So do you think the government should have the ability to regulate how many hours you can work in order to protect us from working 14-hour days? Or do you think that we should be able to work however many hours we want without the government telling us anything? Then you read the outcomes of the case. So this is, in this paragraph, you'll see what the court found. Here's a quote, and then here is what the opposition, a justice that disagreed, what he said, and then this is also the current rule. So read the outcome and then answer the next question. Do you think it is fair and necessary for the government to regulate behavior for the betterment of health, safety, and morals? So can the government regulate us in order to protect the health of society? A modern example is the mask mandate, where the government can regulate what we do in order to protect the health of society. So answer those 2 questions after doing the readings. The next part is Jane Addams, and it's about her Whole House. She led a whole house which would give education, healthcare, social services to cities, people in need. So I want you to read an excerpt from one of her speeches right here, and then answer the 5 questions that go along with the primary source. The next part of the packet that you'll need to complete is the Muckrakers. Read what a muckraker was. Then here's a quote by Ida Tarbell. She really helped end the Standard Oil monopoly and take down Rockefeller monopoly on oil. Then you also have Jacob Rise and How the Other Half Lives photograph. I want you to answer some questions about that. And then finally, a lot of these muckrakers were trying to regulate what could be put in products. So the Jungle, Sam Adams, exposing the dangers in medicine. But without a regulatory agency, without the FDA, there wasn't anything stopping a company from putting dangerous chemicals in our food or in our medicine or in our sodas, whatever it may be. And here's a picture of cocaine for toothache drops. So to fix a child's toothache, you might give them this cocaine product. And there was nothing regulating that, stopping that from happening. And so these muckrakers were trying to expose this in order to create reform, the Pure Food and Drug Act, which helped ban these dangerous ingredients. And I want you to answer the question, why would you want the government to regulate what products can be sold? All right, for the next part, Temperance Movement. Here's a little bit of information about what the Temperance Movement was. It was a group of women, mostly women that were against alcohol, thought alcohol should be banned in the United States. They ended up being successful with the 18th Amendment being ratified in 1919, which banned the sale and production of alcohol. So alcohol was banned in the US, thanks to these women's Christian organizations. The questions I want you to answer: why do you think the temperance movement, this anti-alcohol movement, grew at the same time these Christian movements were growing? So why would this social gospel movement, which taught Christians that it was their duty to end poverty and inequality, why would that coincide? Why would that pair with ending alcohol? So why do you think Christians trying to better society would want to take away the sale of alcohol? And then why do you think the temperance movement was largely a women's movement? Why are women really backing trying to end this alcohol sale, alcohol in our country? Hopefully this picture gives a little context. Lips that touch liquor shall not touch ours. And you see these women look pretty angry. And also there's a map that shows prohibition progressively taking place throughout the country. All right. So the last one that you have to complete is the African American reform, Black American reform. So here's a little bit of information about what the situation was during the Progressive Era, and then some information about Booker T. Washington and Webb Du Bois. So Booker T. Washington stressed that Black Americans should do self-improvement, that they should improve their conditions, become equal in society by proving that they are just as good as everyone else. So by working hard, getting educated, being productive, that they will eventually find prosperity and equality by behaving in a way. So behave the way you want to live. If you want to be, for example, an athlete, act like you're an athlete. That was kind of the mentality. If you want to be seen as a productive, equal person, act like a productive, equal person. Where Webb Du Bois had a more aggressive approach. He called for immediate civil rights, fighting for their civil rights, fighting to integrate schools, having this top 10% of African Americans, so the talented 10th, which is just the next generation of Black civil rights leaders fighting for equality. You can't just stand by and act like you're equal. You have to fight to be equal. So I want you, whose philosophy would be the best? I want you to pick between Booker T. Washington and Webb Du Bois' philosophy on how to create change, and explain why you pick their philosophy to back. And then finally, I want you to read an excerpt from Ida B. Wells' A Red Record, which was about lynching that was happening in the country, all over the country. The first excerpt is about how mobs would only focus on African Americans, crimes against women, but when a white man would commit a crime against a Black woman, there was no kind of mob or outrage that would take place. So she's trying to show the hypocrisy that was taking place. And also, it gives some information about lynching, saying that 132 people were executed in the US after standing trial were 197, so almost 200 people were put to death by mobs. So more people put to death by mobs, largely African American, than by the law. And so after reading those two quotes by Ida B. Wells, I want you to answer the question, how did Ida B. Wells portray lynching? And why is literary work, why and how can writing like The Red Record be powerful? Why is her words that she wrote down powerful? So answer those two questions. And if you want, you can do these extras, visual literacy. So this is a bonus. So it's not extra credit, but it will make your assignment worth more. So instead of being worth 48 points, it'll be worth 68 points. So it'll impact your grade more if you complete this. So if you have a really great grade, you do really well, you really like this type of assignment, then you can make it worth a lot more in the grade book, which will help your grade. But you'll go through these images, answer the questions like you did the rest of the packet, and that is all you have to do for Monday's lesson. So I hope this helps. If you have any questions, let me know, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.